Why you mad that we efficient? We trying to get to the point. Root cause analysis, motherfucker.
NANI?
Dynamite. My name's Heero. This is the Identity Booth. We got a lot to cover in this week's little segment of things I forgot to tell you last week. I also forgot to set up the show in the sense of putting the title cards where they're supposed to be. So let's do that real quick. Hope everybody's week is going good, going strong. You know, it stands to reason that with the way prices and everything are going, take a day out. I know you're tempted to tighten your belt, but don't tighten your belt if tightening your belt might push you over the edge mentally. You feel me? Go get yourself a snack. Go get yourself a snack. You deserve it, and don't let anybody else tell you anything else. You deserve that goddamn snack, all right? So you go get that snack. But here we go. Let's get into it, right? This is the things I forgot to tell you last week. It's a very interesting segment, one of my favorite segments, to be honest, because we get to talk about random news facts that didn't hit everyone's radar. And this first one's an interesting one, if I don't say so myself. A German man gets 90 COVID-19 shots to sell forged passes. This is both disturbing and troubling. I mean, disturbing and good because, fail-safes, right? The vaccines fail-safes are a thing because there is a such thing as overdosing. And it's good to know that, you probably can't overdose on COVID-19 vaccines because of this dude, this German man. Was out here taking shots for other people who were COVID deniers. So that's the bad part. It's like he's taking these shots for other people who then hit the pass and say he's COVID. And all he had to do, and this is another fatal flaw, is acquire their IDs and go and impersonate them. And he would have got away with it if it wasn't for those pesky kids. No, I'm just playing. If it wasn't because he hadn't received the level of boldness that would let him go back to back. Yes. He literally got caught because he kept going, because he went back to back to the same place and thought no one would notice. They did detain him. I feel like this dude needs to be researched, but he's an animal. He's just an animal. Like, there's no way that you're subjecting yourself. How much are they paying you? They can't be paying you that much. How much would you have to get paid to take? We were trying to pay people a few $1,000s to get this shot. This man took 90 of them. If he's not a Super Saiyan yet, I don't know what you have to do to become one. This was an interesting video. I thought this was gonna be the Karen video, and upon looking at it out, it probably should have been. Shouldn't. I'm happy I did. What is basically a JetBlue flight that was taking part, that was departing from the Bahamas or something like that, heading towards JFK, had to be diverted to Newark because of bad weather. But they were being requested to stay on the plane instead of get off, and there was a bunch of people who were either seasick or afraid from all the turbulence and stuff like that in the process of getting to Newark. So let's just hear them spaz out.
You can arrest me.
You are putting everybody, our life at risk.
You can arrest me.
I was scared.
I'm not going back up in there.
Think about it. The weather wasn't good.
I'm not going back up in
This
there.
airplane was going down.
Look, man, I'll do something crazy. You can arrest me. I don't want to go back up in the air.
Yeah, but do me a favor. No.
Officer, my kids are panicking. People are sick back there. We gotta get off this
I don't
plane.
want to be on this plane.
It's dangerous. We tried to land 4 times already. It's dangerous. We're scared to fly. We want to get off.
Take me to jail.
Please take. I don't want to go to jail, but it's not right. We're 6 hours. It's a 3-hour flight. It's not your fault. It's not their fault. We just want to get off.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't care about JFK. It's our lives.
I don't want to go up.
It's our lives. I'm sorry.
This is an interesting, very interesting dynamic because basically people want to just get off of the plane, and they're being held on the plane for two reasons. One, because of customs and exchange laws, and then two, if they deplane, like what happens? There's no process. But like what the thing that's crazy here is, like, you know, I just wanted to show this because this is a stark contrast to what we've seen in the past, where people are acting an ass and want to stay on the plane by not wearing their mask or something like that. And here people they're just terrified. Like, could you imagine? Like, I could imagine you tried to emergency land 4 times and couldn't. And then to be told, like, all right, it's a 3-hour flight. You're 6 hours into this 3-hour flight, and you still have to stay there and get off the plane. And the reason why they weren't allowed off is because technically the plane had everything they need to sustain them. There wasn't a medical emergency, and there was nothing like that. So, like, ever since 9/11, deplaning is a big thing. But in this case, like you heard, this white gentleman, I believe, was the person saying, like, yo, arrest me. Like, if that's what it takes for me to get off the plane, arrest me. And that's just because, like, people were terrified, which is an understandable response.
Obviously, it was dramatic.
People are sick back there. People are fainting. People are throwing up. A little respect for human beings. How long can we sit on this crap? I held myself in long enough. It's not right. Everybody wants to get the hell off. Everybody wants to get off. I want to get off.
The problem here is like, these airlines don't want to lose money, and they're taxing right now. They are taxing right now. But JetBlue ain't a cheap ticket, I can imagine. And the fact that if there's more than one person getting off the plane, like, that's more than enough reason. I would take the path of least resistance here, especially in a situation like this where your resistance can be deemed reasonable, because at this point you're holding them again. If they're on the ground, they're on the ground, they're in a gate. Open the door and let these people off, because the last thing you want to do is then have someone feel like you, not only are they afraid to go back into the air, you're now going to put that person who's terrified to go back into the air and hold them against their will on the plate while they were on the ground. Those are fighting words. Just open the door and let these people out. You could make an announcement, whatever you want to do, but let these people out. Because if you don't let people out, this could happen. A male passenger is arrested for pleasuring himself 4 times on a Southwest flight. Now, I did the math on this flight because this was interesting. This dude was able to get it off 4 times in 1 hour and 15 minutes. And when the FBI interviewed the woman who was sitting next to him, and upon, like, why did you say anything? Why did this happen? She politely informed them that, no, this dude actually did ask for permission. He asked politely. He thought it was kinky. They arrested him. Like I said, the weird people are coming out. The temperature's coming up, and so are the weird people. Protect yourselves out there, people. Protect yourself. Maybe if he stayed in school, he wouldn't have gone jogging on a highway. Former Cowboy executive Gil Brandt is slammed for disgraceful comments on Steeler quarterback Dwayne Haskins. Over the weekend, Dwayne Haskins was killed while jogging up the side of the road. It was told he was in Florida. Excuse me. He was in Florida training, basically, with a bunch of quarterbacks. This is a routine thing. Quarterbacks, football players, any major athlete does their own personal training, and they always go somewhere else to get this isolation for training purposes. But the thing that was just kind of disturbing about this was just all of the bad takes. Adam Scheffler, who had a bad take. This guy, we're gonna hear his take, but there's maybe people don't know this, and maybe it has to be said. If you can't when a famous person dies, and their cause of their death wasn't a direct, or their cause of their fame isn't directly correlated to what they've done in their past, shut the fuck up. All Adam Scheffler had to do was say, Dwayne Haskins, football player, NFL player, died tragically during a car accident while jogging on the side of the road. Period. Full stop. But this isn't, but like, I want to let people know, this isn't like on accident. This is something they constantly do to black people in the sports world. During draft night's coming up here soon. And what you're going to see is a lot of backhand compliments and a lot of backhand dog whistling comments about black athletes, their family, and their family dynamic. Can't believe he made it this far. His mother was a crackhead. He had a really tough go at making it to the league. But it's just crazy that's going to be the dynamic, right? The conversation between the two. The conversation between the two people is a white person, he had a tough childhood growing up and he beat all the odds. Black person, can't believe he made it. Hell, his mother was a crackhead. Like, if you don't know how to talk, and let's hear the comment. But does he strike you as a person who's socially conscious? Gil Brandt? Does he strike you as a person who's socially conscious about anything?
That was living to be dead, so to speak. He was a guy that was living to be dead, so to speak. They told him, don't under any circumstances leave school early. You just don't have the work habits. You don't have this. You don't have that. What did he do? Left school early. I always can remember this.
Yeah, because they want him to stay there so he can continue to work for free and make Ohio State more money. Dwayne Haskin holds the record for most touchdowns at Ohio State. Shut the fuck up. He holds the record. Gilbert Gottfried died today. This motherfucker's out here walking around though. R.I.P. California City to give universal income to transgender non-binary residents regardless of earnings. So if you live in California within this little subsection and you want to make a quick $900, just claim you ain't got no sex. Be transgender. No, don't do that. That's a horrible idea. And you'll be one of the woeful people who think that it's okay to minimize transgender rights and transgenders' struggles by doing this. I read into this a little bit more. It's one of those things where if you have nuance and you're a critical thinker, this doesn't faze you, but it does make you scratch your chin. But if you're one of those raging transphobes, well, now you know. Congratulations. If this bothers you for one of those two reasons, there's only one right answer for this, right? If this bothers you because the question is, well, if you're looking for a marginalized group to try universal basic income on, you could have tried it with black people. You could have tried it with Hispanic people. I think they chose this number because of the small ratio of participants. As far as transgender, non-binary groups are concerned, it's a very small subset. The council agreed on this. About 200,000 tax dollars will be going towards this. So it's a small subsection, but they were deemed during the pandemic. The reason why this is happening is because during the pandemic, this same group of people, the transgender group, they were least likely to be hired or referred for employment due to their beliefs. So they're not their beliefs. What's the word I'm thinking of here? Their way of life. So once again, it's one of those things where I agree, because it can only lead, if done correctly, can lead to a proof of concept for universal basic income, which would help everybody. New York judge dies by suicide after authorities search his home, because I think like a week ago or something like that, he let off somebody who was his friend. After it was found that his friend committed like sexual assault on a minor, and this judge let him go. And then they did a raid of his house and he killed himself. So I guess that tells us everything we need to know. A New York State judge whose home was searched by law enforcement authorities last month against the backdrop of the federal prosecution of one of his former clients killed himself on Tuesday, one of the lawyers said. Get fucked. No one will miss you. You're a coward. And I hope every case you've ever done is thoroughly overlooked and somebody gets out of jail for it. I could care less. I think suicide is a very selfish thing, but when you're a monster like this, I think you're doing everyone a favor. Oh, this is a great story. Police blast Disney music to stop YouTuber from filming them in California. And while they were doing this, the city council member walks up and sees it happening in real time. And it's the Santa Ana audits. They basically go around auditing police officers, which is to basically say they document the activities of officers. That's all they're there to do. I'm sorry, y'all. I keep yawning because I'm hungry. That's all they're there to do. Audit the officer and watch how our taxpayer money is working for us. But for some strange reason, whenever they come around, police get extremely agitated and nervous. And we talked about this last week with Eric Adams, who said, stop filming my police officers. You always film the police officers. If you can see an officer, turn your camera on. Because they will lie, cheat, or steal to get cleared for anything. So one of those situations they ran into for this situation is whenever they know a person's watching, or whenever they know people are watching, they'll play Disney music so that they can't upload the video later because it has copyrighted music. And I'm pretty sure if Disney had the balls to sue them for this, they would, because here he is caught in 4K. But if you're an officer that feels like this is cool, or you're laughing or saying, you don't honor the Constitution, our rights as civilians and things like that. Your oath to uphold the law was a sham. This is an interesting story.
Murder for her alleged role in an abortion. Now, in a statement, the DA said, in part, in reviewing applicable Texas law, it is clear that the woman cannot and should not be prosecuted for the allegation against her. We should note it's unclear if the woman was being accused of having an abortion herself or for helping with someone else's. NBC News correspondent Katie Beck joins us now. So, Katie, first, let's just bring everyone up to speed. I mean, abortion is still a protected right in America. So why was this woman even arrested in the first place?
Yeah, good morning, Joe. It's a really good question, and certainly stirring a lot of outrage among protesters there along the border in Texas and the small community of Starr County. A lot of people wanting more information. There simply isn't a lot of public information about exactly what statute that woman was charged under. Because as you said, in the state of Texas, it is actually not permitted to charge a pregnant woman with a self-induced abortion with homicide. That is actually not permitted under the law. And of course, as we know, the law that's gotten a lot of attention in Texas, SB 8, which was passed in September, is the strictest abortion law in the country, but it only carries a civil penalty. This woman obviously being charged with homicide is a criminal charge. So the DA, the sheriff, they are sort of walking this back now, as you see the DA saying that he is going to drop this charge. But initially, what she was charged under is still unclear at this point. I think we'll probably find that out later this morning when there's a court hearing.
Yeah, we heard a little bit of the statement from the DA there. Did the DA give much more information about why they decided not to press charges?
Regardless of what the reason is, this is how this law will be abused. This is how people will take advantage of this law. But the thing that I really want to stick out about this is how they found out. How did the Texas Sheriff Department find out about this? Well, when she went into the hospital for excessive bleeding, I'm guessing due to the fetus being aborted, one of the nurses on site decided to call the police. And this is why I say, and the lady who was arrested, she's Hispanic. People don't trust you. Healthcare is not to be trusted, and this is part of the reason why. It's part of this illusion, right? A few weeks ago, we were talking about that nurse who made a mistake and killed somebody, and everyone had their panties in a bunch trying to say that that nurse didn't deserve what she got, and this, that. But this is the underlining and overlining issue about trust. It is earned. And especially for there to be a guild of nurses, I want those same nurses who were trying to get that other nurse off to be here holding this nurse to the stake. The nurse who released that information should be fired. The arresting officers should be fired. Their sergeant, their supervisors, all people involved with trying to restrict this woman's freedom because of their feelings should be fired. That's not a hard decision, not a hard statement to make. But not far to the north, Oklahoma governor signs near total ban on abortion. I wish all those people who wanted to live in this anti-abortion world would just move to Oklahoma. Let's make Oklahoma the permanent shithole of America, where every hot take bullshit ass person lives, and there's no real reason for you to acknowledge or understand any arguments with anyone there because they live in Oklahoma. Right? Even the basketball players don't. Basketball players and basketball fans don't like it there. They don't. And this dude signed it, no questions asked. No questions asked. It's crazy. Cam Newton has a hot take.
I had a perfect example of what a man was in my life by my father. My parents has been together for 36, 37 years now, and it's a beautiful thing. I grew up in a 3-parent household, my mom, my father, and my grandmother. And I knew what a woman was, not a bad bitch.
Okay, what's the difference?
A woman.
Okay.
A bad bitch is a person who's just, girl, I'm a bad bitch, I'm doing this, I'm doing that.
So the definition, it seems strange. Ketanji Brown Jackson doesn't know how to define a woman, and Cam Newton doesn't seem to apparently understand how to define a woman. A woman is not a bad bitch. So why can't a woman and a bad bitch be one and the same? Why can't she be a bad bitch in the streets and be a woman in the house? Or vice versa? Why does someone... Cam Newton looks like a bad bitch. How is it that someone that looks like a bad bitch out here telling me other women can't be bad bitches? Like, Cam Newton's the most quirky, weird-looking dude ever. And if I Google Cam Newton's name right now and find out he has a baby mama, he's just a... Cam Newton shares why he didn't marry mother of 4. So Cam Newton has kids with 4. Cam Newton, proud father of 7 children. So can we call you like a deadbeat? Can we call, like, cause you're not helping the black community. You're not helping make women out bad bitches into women. You're not helping the cause, Cam Newton.
I look the part, but I don't act the part.
Okay.
You know, and it's a lot of women who are bad bitches, and I say bitches in a way not to degrade it.
If you have to explain what you're about to say, you probably mean it in a degrading way.
Woman, but just to go off the aesthetic of what they deem is a boss chick. Now, a woman for me is handling your own, but knowing how to cater to.
A woman's job is to cater to a man. That's what it's going to say. Let me finish it up for you. You can be a bad bitch, but you have to know how to cater to me too. And you want to know something that's crazy? Cam Newton has the ability to make these requests. Because I often believe that a lot of men who want submissive women really just want to have money to afford being able to tell people what they want to do.
A man's needs, right? And I think a lot of times when you get that aesthetic of like, I'm a boss bitch, like I'm a this, I'm a that. No, baby, like, but you can't cook.
So because you can't cook, you can't be a bad bitch. Cam Newton have a chef? How do you spell chef? He's one of those PETA dudes. Quarterback has been vegan, meaning he doesn't eat meat, dairy, any animal products since February 2019. Explains a lot. Explains why he can't take a hit anymore on the football field. And remarkable changes my body responds to food. I just want to know who his chef is. Chef. With his chef's name. Vegan diet may hurt. Vegan. Anyway, I know he has a chef. Every last one of these people have a chef, especially all the quarterbacks. So if you can't cook, in Cam Newton's eyes, you're not a real woman.
Okay.
You don't know when to be quiet. You don't know.
So a woman has to know when to shut the fuck
You don't know when to
up.
be quiet. You don't know how to allow a man to lead. I had a
It's kind of funny that a quarterback who couldn't lead his team to the Super Bowl to win is complaining about a woman not being able to lead, or complaining about not having the ability to lead. I often say this. When you show me a man who's complaining about what women, I, as a black man, have never felt oppressed by a black woman. It's impossible. I've had black women be my boss and have not felt that pressure just because I live in the man's world enough. Remember, they picked Obama before they picked Hillary. They let a black man be president before they let a white woman be president. Black men got it way better than black women. So show me a picture of a man complaining about a black woman oppressing him, and I'll show you a picture of a bitch. Cam Newton couldn't lead his team to a Super Bowl and win. He's mad that a woman won't let him lead. You found your way to having sex with a woman 7 times and having 7 different kids. One of them you got 4. You got 2 baby mamas or whatever, probably 3. And you complaining about women not wanting to be women. You out here slutting them out, but you want them to be women. All right, so why don't you only have sex with women then? Why you only having sex with bad bitches? Cam Newton is so annoying for this collaboration of stupidity. Well, Elon Musk bought a percentage of Twitter the other day, and the world isn't really handling it, but Twitter stock did go up, and so did Tesla. Selling, buying, green. We're going to talk about this shit on Thursday. I promise myself we're going to talk Thursday or Friday, one of those days. I'm not going out Friday, so we're going to talk about it Friday. But he was brought onto the board. They thought he was going to be brought onto the board, but there was like a stipulation or something like that where he couldn't buy any more. And it's clear now more than ever that Elon wants to buy Twitter just so he can make it his own personal meme catcher. Like, this is why we don't need to have billionaires. Kyrie Irving and me are the same right now because I'm hungry as shit. I'm struggling to get through this podcast. But Kyrie Irving is literally performing at the best at his peak with other peak athletes. But the only difference is he's not eating right now because he's observing the month of Ramadan, which is where Muslims fast. And basically they don't eat while the sun's up. And my guy is out here doing it to the fullest.
Are you fasting for Ramadan? And if so, how does that change your preparation or just how you approach the day-to-day?
Well, all praise is due to God, Allah, for this, because it's just been a lot of just outside. Like I said, there's a lot of people in other people's business all the time. But for me, in terms of my faith and what I believe in, being part of the Muslim community.
Muslim. The way he says Muslim. Muslim. Kyrie, you funny as shit, boy. I didn't know he was Muslim, but you know what? As a person who doesn't have a religious faith but grew up Muslim, hey, respect to him. I'm happy to see him like push it through, and that shit's pretty cool. Mr. Third Eye himself, he really has the best setup to do this, but he's playing peak basketball with a major handicap in. Like I said, all praises to Allah. The Supreme Court made a decision today that you could finally sue for malicious prosecution, but bringing claims may still be difficult. So basically, prior to today, you weren't allowed to sue the police for malicious shit that did to you, like because of that qualified immunity shit. But basically, the decision today made it so that they could do it. And it's something that's long awaited. Remove the protections from the police, qualified immunity, all that bullshit. If they are found guilty of a crime, they should be charged financially, physically, and mentally the full price of the crime. Here's an interesting story. What are red flags when hiring? This Twitter thread got very spicy after Boston. There's actually a lot of good ones in here, such as, to be fair, a few, if a man, when asked questions by a woman, only makes eye contact with other men when responding, unfortunately, that's pretty common and massive indicator for how he treat female colleagues if hired. That's super interesting. I didn't even think of that, so that was a good one. The receptionist test. This one I know about. I know about this one, the receptionist test. That really, the third interview that they call you in for, you're not really being interviewed for anything. They say it's the most important one. You're gonna take this qualified test, but the test and all that stuff is just a sham. They're just gonna put you under a lot of pressure and then put you with the receptionist. And because the receptionist doesn't really hold any weight or volume towards you getting the job, she's actually the final test. And if you do something that makes her feel less value or anything like that, they move you around. But then we got into like the suspect shit that people have said. So like asking about the salary before we didn't even start the interview. Yo, if you just posted the salary next to the job description, you wouldn't even have to worry about this. But since you guys like wasting time, why you mad that we efficient? We trying to get to the point. Root cause analysis, motherfucker. A friend used to take sales candidates out to lunch. This is a good one. Had arrangements with the friend who owned the restaurant. Always had the candidate's order screwed up. Noted how they dealt with it, either graciously just eating the food and politely points out, great any pissin', no higher. That's interesting. That one's interesting, but I feel like you're playing on people's emotions and shit like that. I don't know. No social media is a huge flag. GitHub linked. Why would refusing managers' references? Laundry list of laundry list. This was interesting. Confidential companies and projects. Why is this one a red flag? Like, that's just some shit you can't talk about. Lots of short engagements. 1 year. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Like, what do they think? People not gonna move jobs? We ain't our grandfather's kids. If I don't like some shit, I'm leaving. Period. Act St. Luke's. I'm out that hoe. What the hell is this about? Oh, this is the update to the controversial bill that was amended in Tennessee. So in Tennessee right now, you can legally, you were going to be able to legally marry anybody of any age, and everyone in the country gave backlash and was mad about this, but then they changed it, and I couldn't really understand like the pushback why this wasn't just implemented. But then we can talk. But then you gotta know where there's, if the devil's quiet, it's because you're doing his bidding for him. So let's find out. Let's hear something about this bidding.
Since TikTok deleted my first video on this, I get to show you guys so much more information. You know this guy by now, Representative John Rose, and we are talking about his relationship with his wife. Here you can see in the highlighted section, it's a timestamp in 2008 where John Rose was giving an award to Chelsea Doss, his now current wife. Here's their engagement photo 3 years later. So this source says that she was 18 when they got married. He was 47. This one says they were married when she was 19. And this one says they met at 17, engaged at 20, married at 21. So this is the conflicting info that I was talking about in the pinned comments underneath my last video. But here's the thing with all of that conflicting information. Absolutely none of it changes what happened. Mm-hmm. He met her as a high school student. Actually, this one thinks as soon as she started FFA. That's like 14. It doesn't matter if she was 21 when they got married. It matters that he was her coach, that he groomed her since she was a child, provided a scholarship, was in an authoritarian position to her, and pounced. And that's what groomers do. They like to make it so you owe them something. And if you don't believe me, just listen to the other rep from Tennessee.
He met her when she was underage and she was in FFA, Future Farmers of America. And then I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but created some program for her or whatever, then married her when she was 21. But knew her that entire time, met her when she was in high school.
Since TikTok deleted my first video.
So this is like that sus shit that I be talking about, right? Whenever you hear stories about like these crazy Republicans saying shit like, oh, you gotta protect the kids. We gotta protect the kids. Where they at? No. Come the fuck up to the front. Step to the front. I'll adjust the mic for you. Where the fuck are you at? Where were y'all at when homeboy was out here hunting in the high school for his future wife? Republicans are both the answer and the question to their own problems. It's crazy. It's mind-boggling. But he was really out here grooming his little friend. a whole 47 years. And Republicans couldn't wait to sign that bill. So, you know, a future him is sad. Oh. And she's just out here. Like, just thinking it's totally cool, totally normal, no problem there, not a care in the world. Hey, we made it though. Clap it. Yo. This one was tough. You feel me? This one was tough. We made it though. Those were the things I forgot to tell you last week. Yeah. If there's something I forgot to tell you, if there's something you want to tell me, feel free to leave a conversation below. I am starving.